channels, regardless of if they are in the same niche as you, and apply them to your own videos. For example, let's say you're a fitness channel. You can find inspiration from a $1 versus $1,000 burger video and make it a $1 versus $10,000 gym video. That sounds pretty intriguing, doesn't it? So let me show you how all of this works in a real-world example. So let me give you a quick demonstration of how the tool works from the YouTube homepage once you've got the vidIQ Chrome extension installed. You'll see numbers and tools like this. So we have the views per hour, and we also have the outlier score. That's saying that this video for this channel is performing above average. But we also have the remix tool here. And if I click on it, what it's going to do is transform that title from that genre, which is video editing, into the topic and genre and niche that you're interested in. In this example, it's currently for YouTube education, because obviously vidIQ is a channel all about helping creators grow their channels. But when you first click on the remix tool, you'll be able to edit this information. So what we're going to do is remove getting more views, and we'll do the weight loss example from earlier. So we add that as a keyword, but we can also add more. So we'll try bodybuilding as well. And as you can see now, the recommendations are more appropriate to my type of channel. So I'm going to do fitness journey, also healthy eating, and we'll save them. So what this is going to do now is regenerate those titles and give us remix title ideas from that original video to our genre and niche. So to recap what's happened here, we've taken an idea and title from the video editing niche that's performing very well for a channel and remixed it into a weight loss idea and title for our fitness channel. Once you've got the keywords set up for the topic of your channel, this literally is a one-click, 3-second solution. For example, imagine you are a learning to speak Spanish channel. I'll click the remix button on this video and it will give me these titles. Or let's say your channel is all about gardening. Let's remix this title and see what we come up with. Or how about a productivity, time management, goal setting channel? I'm going to remix this video here from a channel that has just 26 subscribers, but they have a video with 1,700 views, which is a clear outlier. And these are all of the remix title ideas I get. Now, if I was to stop right here, you would say that's a pretty good tool, right? But this is just the beginning. Here comes the best bit. I'm going to demonstrate something else new with the example from the video editing video we saw earlier, but this time remixed to give us make money online ideas and titles. Next to each of these ideas is a generate button, and that's what we're going to click next to see what happens. This will take us to the vidIQ web app where we can start to build on this video idea with a title, video tags, descriptions, and a whole host of other things that are generated live as I'm talking to you right now. So we have the title here, a description here of what might go in the video itself. We've got those tags which you can just copy and throw straight into the tab box, so no effort required there. Some potential thumbnail ideas, and then a hook and an outline. And if these were of interest to you, we can scroll down here, click generate script, and now we have something to actually work with in front of camera, and it'll even generate a voiceover for you as well, all to just get you started on this single idea that we saw on the YouTube homepage less than a minute ago. Now, this remix button is designed to follow you anywhere on YouTube. So as you can see on the homepage, if I hover over any titles, you'll see that remix button appear. Also on a search page, I can just hover over the video and the remix button appears. On a channel page, again, you'll see that remix button. And if you're in a watch page of a video, the remix button is right down here. So whenever you get a flash of inspiration, you can immediately click on that button to start generating your idea. So I highly encourage you to click the link below to install the vidIQ browser extension now, because you are literally 2 minutes away from taking any successful video from any niche on YouTube and remixing it into content that fits your niche, your audience, your channel.
Qunari horns also see a massive improvement.
Yeah.
With 49 unique styles, options range from large and imposing to decorative or even asymmetrical.
Okay.
That said, yes, their foreheads can look pretty jarring. I
think this looks fucking garbage. Like, their foreheads are too big. They look like scuffed Klingons. Yeah, I don't like it.
As a Qunari mage during most of my preview, and will say I got used to the look pretty quickly. Dragon Age: The Veilguard actually only marks the second game of the series where you can play as a Qunari, so the odd imbalance of forehead versus face feels like stylistic growing pains. I remain curious about whether more time with the character creator.
Can you make her boobs bigger?
Pains. I remain
Body proportions. Go to
curious
that.
about whether more time with the character creator might help. The air shock of Dragon Age 2 is, in my opinion, such a beautifully crafted model. And I would love to be able to create a Qunari Rook that...
I'm sorry, but this just looks so much cooler. I think this looks way cooler.
feels as memorable. Customization certainly doesn't stop at hair, or horns, of course. Every aspect of your Rook is editable, even allowing for facial asymmetry if you choose. Sliders allow you to change everything from head shape to the melanin in your skin to the presence of vitiligo.
Bro, why she got Tetris on her face?
Go straight.
Like, yeah, what the fuck?
Go. Perhaps
every time I hear that word, I can only think Uncle Ruckus with revitiligo. I'm gonna be honest, I cannot hear that word without thinking of the Boondocks. I got revitiligo. Good one, yeah, it was so good.
my favorite addition, however, is the introduction of body diversity. Cyberpunk 2077 and Baldur's Gate 3 had whiffs of this, but nowhere near what you're capable of in the Veilguard.
Yeah.
Which is much more similar to the breadth of the character creator in Dragon's Dogma 2.
Yeah, it was really good. You should be able to make fat characters.
Each of the 4 races, there are plenty of presets to choose from, all with varying heights and
okay, so okay, so you can make their boobs bigger. Because, see, it even has that's the ass slider, the dick slider. Okay, this is pretty decent. All right. No, I like that. You're having a dick slider. A lot of people don't have that.
Or fat distribution. Once you've chosen your preset, however, you can build further upon those elements as much as you'd like.
Yeah, sure.
First is a triangulation of coordinates, allowing for many unique combinations.
Yeah, it's muscular, skinny, and fat, and you figure out where you are in the little triangle. I get it.
Types that are thinner, larger, or more muscular.
Yeah.
Height sliders are fun, especially when it means watching my particularly short elf ruin years of Solas's ritual planning by pushing over a statue.
She's not even that short.
The options feel almost endless. There's even a glute slider. And yes, I gave my Rook.
No, it could have been way bigger than that. Yeah, it should be that should be, guys, that should be 20%. That's it? That's like nothing, bro. Like, oh my god. At least it's I guess. Well, what about, are they gonna show the dick slider? Let's see what we got with that.
One hell of an ass. All of this is only scratching.
Yeah, right. Like, apparently this girl doesn't spend 4 hours like I do on Instagram every day. No, it's not.
Surface. I haven't even gotten into facial hair, makeup, scars, or tattoos.
Yeah.
As an elf, my Rook sported some Vaseline, but there are so many different designs for both the face and the body to experiment with. While I didn't spend very much time exploring customization for the Inquisitor, I just know we'll all get the chance to make them in the way we've always imagined.
It's good to see you again.
All
The people making this should do the same thing that Dragon's Dogma 2 did, where they introduced the character creator before the game came out. That was a really good thing that Dragon's Dogma 2 did, and it was really smart, and I think they should do the same thing.
So it may be a relief to some of you to know that Veilguard abandons the awful green lighting of Inquisition's character creator and instead
You can change it,
allows you
yeah.
to cycle through several lighting options in service of creating rooks that look just
What is this guy? Who is this guy? Look at his face. What is this? This is like an Amish goat god.
to cycle through several lighting options in service of creating rooks that look just
She
as
made
good
this?
in gameplay
Yeah.
as they do
Good for
when
her.
you create them. Combat, meanwhile, was a refreshing change from Inquisition. My go-to class has always been Mage, and even as a Knight Enchanter, I often felt like I was standing in one place holding down the left trigger. This felt like a return to the pace of Dragon Age 2, with innovations that improve upon the experience of battle overall. The Veilguard
Why does your camera?
introduces a new fighting style for mages featuring an orb and dagger for close quarters combat. It's tailor-made for
god.
players like me who love magic, but also really like to stab.
Yeah, like Red Mage, sure.
During my preview, I played through the prologue and then dropped forward into
It's actually
very
crazy. Like, I remember playing Red Mage in Final Fantasy XIV, and it was crazy to me how well designed it was. I actually think it's probably one of the best designed classes in a game that I've ever played. It was so good.
various points of Act 1. So I really got to quickly experience the progression Rook and their companions can go through as fighters. We may not be able to take control of our companions this time around, but the Veilguard really encourages strategizing with them. They'll call out to you when they've rebuilt their mana or stamina, and
ladder
the ability
arisen.
wheel even suggests combos. My focus during the event was mission-driven, so I didn't get as much of a chance to interact with the characters as I would have liked, but even the brief moments of banter endeared me to them pretty quickly.
You didn't break. You got that nice and quiet.
Each class gets its own ultimate ability, think the focus ability, along with a ranged attack.
Man,
For
I
Rorik,
really gotta say, I really think this combat really just doesn't, I don't think it meets the mark. I really don't think so. I don't know. I mean, like, it looks very dated. This game does look like it came out in 2016. Did you expect it to? Yeah. Yeah, I expect every game to have very good combat. I think if you have a game that has action combat and the action combat is bad, then you have a bad game. It's that simple. Yeah. That's the way it works.
Fears that means yeeting your shield like a giant metal boomerang. I've always played Dragon Age for story and not combat, but with this new system, I had so much fun. I felt present during every encounter and truly accomplished after every boss battle. That said, there's definitely a bit of a learning curve. I still found myself confusing controls a few hours in. It's a
I do that for probably the first 43 hours of playing a game, so she shouldn't feel bad about that.
departure from all three installments, but luckily the Veilguard offers 5 different difficulty levels that you can change at will if you want to ease yourself in.
I really hope that the highest, I'll probably play the game on the high difficulty level, right, because of ego. But I really hope that video games can get into making high difficulty not be bullet sponge. Because I feel like that's what happens with a lot of these games, where like they want to make the game harder. So the way they make it harder is that they double the health and they double the damage.
As a Dragon Age fan, the Veilguard felt like a homecoming of sorts. Just as much as seeing familiar faces in
like that?
Solus
Yeah, I
and
don't
Varric,
know.
I was overjoyed to be back in the world of Thedas itself. Moving us north allows for that sense of discovery I got in Inquisition.
That looks
and
good.
if I'd encourage anything, it's to really look
It's like
at
the
your
only frame
surroundings.
that looks good.
Not only are there small environmental puzzles to entangle, along with small and effective moments of visual storytelling, but the horizon.
I'm sorry, but Honkai Star Rail has more congruent and coherent puzzles than that, if that's the best they've got.
Is full of breathtaking scenery that drives
That looks
home the
cool.
scale
True.
of these locations I've personally always wondered about. One new locale, for instance, is a gorgeous underwater prison called the Ossuary. I won't spoil what you're there to do, but the design alone makes it one of
Kill
the
the
most
shark.
memorable moments I've had
That's a
in
whale
any
shark.
Dragon Age game. Even after hours of
Shark.
memorable moments I've had
That's a
in
whale
any
shark.
Dragon Age game. Even after hours of gameplay, I still felt like I could have played for many hours more. I'm optimistic about the Veilguard and excited for it in a way I haven't quite felt about another game in quite some time. If you'd like
I don't understand how people can look at that combat and be like, this is what I'm excited for. I can't understand it. I look at it and I really think the combat is extremely lackluster and mediocre. I also think that the narrative will be... Well, let me finish the video. It's almost over.
to see even more of the game, check out our exclusive IGN First coverage,
Yeah, I watched
which
that.
features even more gameplay and deep dives on Rourke's companions. And for everything else in the world of video games, stick with IGN.
Thanks.
I think that there's going to be a number of things in this game. Like, I actually think the narrative and the story in this game is going to be like it is going to be a masterclass in how to write a soft, modern story. And I think it's going to be garbage. I really do. And the reason why I think it's going to be garbage is because I don't think that the writers of this game and the people that are making this game view it as a fantasy game. I think they view it as basically a way for them to this is like a heightened reality of what currently exists. And I have like kind of 2 points of like reference here, is that let me see if I can find it. The individual person's skin color is referred to as melanin. Now, like, they do have pronouns in the game, which is like I don't really think that's like that big of a deal, right? I think it's annoying, right? But like, sure. But like, you have like melanin on the character. And I think that oftentimes what ends up happening is that people, what they do, there's 3 options. Yeah, he, him, and they. That's clearly what the options are going to be, right? Like, I mean, you could easily say that. Like, that's clearly what it's going to be. And so, U.S. culture. Well, and then you also have, you can even have, and this is what I think is really lazy about it, is I talked about this earlier, but since we were on the video, I'll show it again, is that in the Veilguard, you can actually show, you can have an indicator here where you can have top surgery scars in order to emulate what your scars would look like if you had trans surgery. I think this is one of the most lazy and devoid of any degree of creativity examples of why you should expect this story in the game to be soft, modern, flat, and garbage, and completely uncreative. So we live in a world of magic, demons, dragons, and shape-shifting. However, you still need to undergo a, surgery in order to change your gender. What a ridiculous thing to say. It doesn't even make sense. So when I see something like that, and then I see the character's skin tone be referred to as melanin, I see an image of a game that is made to reinforce a real-world view and be a hyper-reality rather than a fantasy world. I find it to be very weird. And I don't think that you should expect to see a story that's written by a studio like that have any sort of depth to it, have any degree of edge, any sort of internal truth. I think that you can expect to see an extremely flat and extremely dull and a very soft modern story that takes no risks and only reinforces what the artists and the writers that are making it want you to believe about the real world. That's the way I feel. It feels condescending. It is. And so that's my opinion. And I understand that people might not think this, but I want everybody to clip what I'm saying here, and let's take it to the bank whenever the game comes out, and we'll see if I'm right or not. You're criticizing Stone Asman? These woke game devs are lost in their own bubble. You should be 1,000% for it. Yeah, for sure. They're excited because it aligns with their values. Why would any player, including trans, want that? In a game, you can magically directly choose to be their sex and gender. Who wants to be ugly in an idealized fantasy? Yeah, I don't think that anybody, this is, like, I can't speak for any trans people, but, like, I can speak for a lot of people that I know that have scars that, I don't think that hardly anybody, unless, you know, you want to look like a badass or something, right? Anybody wants to have their scars.
Get SimCity Limited Edition at just $31.99 at CJS. You can get the key instantly after your payment. Pre-orders will be sent out on the 6th of March, giving you full...
So I think that, like, yeah, like if you could just not have that, I'm pretty sure almost everybody that's had surgery would just turn it off. Yeah, I am my scars. Yeah, true, except for Illidan. Yeah, everybody except for Illidan. But Illidan's not real, though. You've got to keep in mind. And also, the ass slider was painfully conservative. Was painfully conservative. Crazy conservative. That's the ass. Are you kidding me? Are you fucking... This is a joke. Come on, bro. Like, what is this? This is crazy. Come on. That's a 100? No, it's not. I can go on that. Look, where do we have? Where's the ASMR section?
Go.
Yeah, just like you just search, like this isn't an unrealistic female expectation. There's plenty of girls that look like that. Yeah, if you want, I can give you a short list of 100 of them. Or 1,000 if you want. I don't know what the hell they were thinking. The chest is already at max? Yeah, I guess so. That's nuts, man. Find cosplay channels. Bro, go to your local McDonald's, you'll see massive asses. Yeah, I think so, right? And I hate that a lot of people defend it, that bigger ass is not real. I have plenty of female friends that have way too big asses. Well, I think that really, I think that it's very common, and it's like one of the, it's like a, you know how you have like toxic masculinity? I think that there's toxic femininity as well, where women like to body shame other women based off of their proportions, because their proportions are seen as, you know, like too over-endowed. I think it's very common. And like, I see this happen with a lot of girls. Is that they're like, oh, well, and it happens with skinny girls too. It's like, oh, where's her organs? Like, what do you mean, where's her organs? They're working, unlike yours that have to work overtime. Like, it's nuts. It's too seductive. Yeah, exactly. How big is 100% for the bulge, though? And that's the thing, right? Like, how big can you make their dick? That's what I want to know. Yeah, women are mean as hell to each other. Yeah, they are. They're like, anything mean that you can say to a girl is nothing like the things that a girl can say to another girl. Like, yeah, I mean, like, I've seen some of these, like, leaked group chats. Oh, my God. Holy fuck. Yeah, that's brutal, man. Yeah, why can't I dislike the video? I mean, I don't think you should dislike the video. I feel like the video was good, right? It's not like there was anything bad about the video. But I'm just saying that I don't really think this character creator, and I think that the decisions that they made with the character creator are a mining canary for what you should be able, and the hip width, that's 60%. There's no way it is. This is outrageous. Can you play as a left-handed person? 10% of people are playing left-handed. I don't know. That's actually a good question. Yeah, I have no idea. Game mod's incoming. Well, it is a PC game, so we'll see what happens. That's insane. That are slapping the face of women. Well, I think that a lot of times it's just, you know. Well, let me actually read some comments first. Inquisitor, the glute slider didn't add a thing. Yeah, exactly, bro. Fucking exactly. God damn. The fact they have Inquisitor back. Yeah, a lot of people are pretty positive about this. Just add some texture to their foreheads. Why is it so damn smooth? It looks ridiculous. Yeah, it does. It really does look ridiculous. What the fuck is that Canary at the 5-minute mark? It looks like Quagmire with horns. Yeah, it fucking does. But anyway, yeah, I think you should expect like this game to be a masterclass in soft modern. Yeah, there's a video right there. Give it a like. I mean, they do their best, right? Sliders are not made for men and women, just to be clear. Well, then you're making a mistake because there's men and women out there, and if you don't make a version of the character that looks like one of them, people will have a harder time identifying with the characters. It's that simple. I find it to be very odd that we've removed male and female, something that 99% of people identify as, in order to add body type 1 and 2 in a way that nobody identifies as. How is it inclusive to remove language that 99% of people use? Well, I think that there's a disparity, though. I think that's I think that there's a little bit of a problem. Yeah, because they say so. Yeah, it's outrageous, and I think that more people should be outspoken about stuff like this. It's ridiculous. Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous. Appeasing the LGBT. No, guys, can you please, like, you don't, like. There are plenty of guys and girls that are gay that don't have anything to fucking do with this. There are tons of people that are gay that also think this stuff is stupid. This is a subset of people that are often not even part of like this underrepresented group that are trying to put themselves out there and virtue signal like they care about them. It's just like what I said with the Assassin's Creed team for Shadows. It's a bunch of white people that are trying to add a black person in Japan because of diversity. And then they get all the details wrong because they don't have any respect for the culture. It's so annoying. They're woke assholes. Yeah, they're like the Karens of the internet. It's still the LGBT agenda? No, it is a small subset. Most people that are LGBT agenda are like, don't prosecute us, let us be able to get married, and let us live our lives in an equal way. That's what most normal people that are part of LGBT think. That is like the 80 to 90% of them. Like, yeah, this is not, like, again, I think the majority of this is done by people that are trying to do it in the name of other people. That was 20 years ago. Yeah. Just got here, what's happening. I don't know, they want more rights. I mean, I think they should have any right that a normal person should have, right? Right to get married, anything else, of course. Yeah, it's not even a question.
Let's get this job done.
They just want to be treated normal, and these developers stereotype them. Yeah, because they don't know any gay or trans people. So they design things, or black people, right, with Assassin's Creed. So, like, what do you do when you don't know any black people in real life? Well, whenever you have a samurai fight, you put on hip-hop music. Because you don't know, you like, what the fuck? It's crazy because, like, even, like, recently, you know, there's, like, that one song. Like, I listen to the radio a lot. Like, there's, like, this, like, one song that's, like, a country song. It's actually really good. And it's, like, a black guy that's singing a country song. And it's, like, super, super popular. And, so it's just, like, the bar song. Yeah, there you go. Is it Shabuzi? Yeah. He's great, man. I think he's great. Straight up. Yeah, Old Town Road. Yeah, I guess there's another one too. Yeah, with Lil Nas. Yeah, but it was the new one. Yeah, I think it's a great fucking song. And I don't know. Like, I just wish that you'd, I wish people were able to treat each other like people rather than, you know, representations of a group.
Please don't scroll. Listen to me. My name is Hiba from Gaza, and I'm supposed to be studying for my medical school final exams these days.
We need only in cold blood act as if the thing in question were real, and it will become infallibly real by growing into such a connection with our life that it will become real. It will become so knit with habit and emotion that our interest in it will be those which characterize belief. He also said, if you only care enough for a result, you will almost certainly attain it. If you wish to be rich, you will be rich. If you wish to be learned, you will be learned. If you wish to be good, you will be good. Only you must then really wish these things, and wish them exclusively, and not wish at the same time 100 other incompatible things just as strongly. In the Bible, you read in Mark 9:23, if thou canst believe, all things are possible to him that believeth. My old friend Dr. Norman Vincent Peale put it this way, this is one of the greatest laws in the universe. Fervently do I wish I had discovered it as a very young man. It dawned upon me much later in life, and I found it to be one of the greatest, if not my greatest discovery outside of my relationship to God. The great law, briefly and simply stated, is that if you think in negative terms, you will get negative results. If you think in positive terms, you will achieve positive results. That is the simple fact, he went on to say, which is at the basis of an astonishing law of prosperity and success. In 3 words, believe and succeed. William Shakespeare put it this way, our doubts are traitors and make us lose the good we oft might win by fearing to attempt. George Bernard Shaw said, people are always blaming their circumstances for what they are. I don't believe in circumstances. The people who get on in this world are the people who get up and look for the circumstances they want, and if they can't find them, make them. Well, that's pretty apparent, isn't it? And every person who discovered this for a while believed that he was the first one to work it out. We become what we think about. Now, it stands to reason that a person who's thinking about a concrete and worthwhile goal is going to reach it, because that's what he's thinking about, and we become what we think about. Conversely, the man who has no goal, who doesn't know where he's going, and whose thoughts must therefore be thoughts of confusion and anxiety and fear and worry, becomes what he thinks about. His life becomes one of frustration and fear and anxiety and worry. And if he thinks about nothing...
What's up?
Hi, Jira. We brought you here to...
he becomes nothing. Now, how does it work? Why do we become what we think about? Well, I'll tell you how it works as far as we know. Now, to do this, I want to tell you about a situation that parallels the human mind. Suppose a farmer has some land, and it's good fertile land. Now, the land gives the farmer a choice. He may plant in that land whatever he chooses. The land doesn't care. It's up to the farmer to make the decision. Now, remember, we're comparing the human mind with the land because the mind, like the land, doesn't care what you plant in it. It will return what you plant, but it doesn't care what you plant. Now, let's say that the farmer has two seeds in his hand. One is a seed of corn. The other is nightshade, a deadly poison. He digs two little holes in the earth and he plants both seeds, one corn, the other nightshade. He covers up the holes, waters, and takes care of the land, and what will happen? Invariably, the land will return what's planted. As it's written in the Bible, as ye sow, so shall ye reap. Now remember, the land doesn't care. It'll return poison in just as wonderful abundance as it will corn. So up come the two plants, one corn, one poison. Now, the human mind is far more fertile, far more incredible and mysterious than the land, but it works the same way. It doesn't care what we plant. Success, failure. A concrete, worthwhile goal, or confusion. Misunderstanding, fear, anxiety, and so on. But what we plant, it must return to us. You see, the human mind is the last great unexplored continent on Earth. It contains riches beyond our wildest dreams. It will return anything we want to plant. Now, you might say, well, if that's true, why don't people use their minds more? Well, I think they figured out an answer to that one, too. Our mind comes as standard equipment at birth. It's free, and things that are given to us for nothing we place little value on. Things that we pay money for, we value. The paradox is that exactly the reverse is true. Everything that's really worthwhile in life came to us free. Our minds, our souls, our bodies, our hopes, our dreams, our ambitions, our intelligence, our love of family and children and friends and country, all these priceless possessions are free. But the things that cost us money are actually very cheap and can be replaced at any time. A good man can be completely wiped out and make another fortune. He can do that several times. Even if our home burns down, we can rebuild it. But the things we got for nothing, we can never replace. The human mind isn't used because we take it for granted. Familiarity breeds contempt. It can do any kind of job we assign to it, but generally speaking, we use it for little jobs instead of big, important ones. Universities have proved that most of us are operating on about 10% or less of our abilities. So decide now, what is it you want? Plant your goal in your mind. It's the most important decision you'll ever make in your entire life. What is it you want? You want to be an outstanding salesman? A better worker at your particular job? Do you want to go places in your company? In your community? Do you want to get rich? All you've got to do is plant that seed in your mind, care for it, work steadily toward your goal, and it will become a reality. It not only will, there's no way that it cannot. You see, that's a law, like the laws of Sir Isaac Newton, the laws of gravity. If you get on top of a building and jump off, you'll always go down. You'll never go up. And it's the same with all the other laws of nature. They always work. They're inflexible. Think about your goal in a relaxed, positive way. Picture yourself in your mind's eye as having already achieved this goal. See yourself doing the things you will be doing when you've reached your goal. Ours has been called the phenobarbital age, the age of ulcers and nervous breakdowns and tranquilizers, at a time when medical research has raised us to a new plateau of good health and longevity. Far too many of us worry ourselves into an early grave trying to cope with things in our own little personal ways without learning a few great laws that will take care of everything for us. These things we bring on ourselves through our habitual way of thinking. Every one of us is the sum total of his own thoughts. He is where he is because that's exactly where he really wants to be, whether he'll admit that or not. Each of us must live off the fruit of his thoughts in the future, because what you think today and tomorrow, next month and next year, will mold your life and determine your future. You're guided by your mind. I remember one time I was driving through eastern Arizona and I saw one of those giant earth-moving machines roaring along the road at about 35 miles an hour with what looked like 30 tons of dirt in it. A tremendous, incredible machine. And there was a little man perched way up on top with the wheel in his hands guiding it. And as I drove along, I was struck by the similarity of that machine to the human mind. Just suppose you're sitting at the controls of such a vast source of energy. Are you going to sit back and fold your arms and let it run itself into a ditch? Or are you going to keep both hands firmly on the wheel and control and direct this power to a specific, worthwhile purpose? It's up to you. You're in the driver's seat. You see, the very law that gives us success is a two-edged sword. We must control our thinking. The same rule that can lead a man to a life of success, wealth, happiness, and all the things he ever dreamed of for himself and his family. That very same law can lead him into the gutter. It's all in how he uses it, for good or for bad. This is the strangest secret in the world. Now, why do I say it's strange, and why do I call it a secret? Actually, it isn't a secret at all. It was first promulgated by some of the earliest wise men, and it appears again and again throughout the Bible, but very few people have learned it, understand it. That's why it's strange, and why for some equally strange reason it virtually remains a secret. I believe that you could go out and walk down the main street of your town and ask one man after another what the secret of success is, and you probably wouldn't run into one man in a month who could tell you. Now, this information is enormously valuable to us if we really understand it and apply it. It's valuable to us not only for our own lives, but the lives of those around us, our families, employees, associates, and friends. Life should be an exciting adventure. It should never be a bore. A man should live fully, be alive. He should be glad to get out of bed in the morning. He should be doing a job he likes to do because he does it well. One time I heard Grove Patterson, the great late editor-in-chief of the Toledo Daily Blade, make a speech, and as he concluded his speech, he said something I've never forgotten. He said, "My years in the newspaper business have convinced me of several things. Among them, that people are basically good, and that we came from someplace, and we're going someplace. So we should make our time here an exciting adventure. The architect of the universe didn't build a stairway leading nowhere." And the greatest teacher of all, the carpenter from the plains of Galilee, gave us the secret time and time again. As ye believe, so shall it be done unto you. I've explained the strangest secret in the world and how it works. Now, on this side, I want to explain how you can prove to yourself the enormous returns possible in your own life by putting this secret to a practical test. I want you to make a test that will last 30 days. It isn't going to be easy, but if you'll give it a good try, it will completely change your life for the better. Now, back in the 17th century, Sir Isaac Newton, the English mathematician and natural philosopher, gave us some natural laws of physics which apply as much to human beings as they do to the movement of bodies in the universe. And one of these laws is that for every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. Simply stated, as it applies to you and me, it means we can achieve nothing without paying the price. The results of your 30-day experiment will be in direct proportion to the effort you put forth. To be a doctor, you must pay the price of long years of difficult study. To be successful in selling, and remember that each of us succeeds to the extent of his ability to sell. Selling our families on our ideas, selling education in schools, selling our children on the advantages of living the good and honest life, selling our associates and employees on the importance of being exceptional people. To, of course, the profession of selling itself. But to be successful in selling our way to the good life, we must be willing to pay the price. And what is that price? Well, it's many things. First, it's understanding emotionally as well as intellectually that we literally become what we think about, that we must control our thoughts if we're to control our lives. It's understanding fully that as ye sow, so shall ye reap. Second, it's cutting away all fetters from the mind and permitting it to soar as it was divinely designed to do. It's the realization that your limitations are self-imposed and that the opportunities for you today are enormous beyond belief. It's rising above narrow-minded pettiness and prejudice. And third, it's using all your courage to force yourself to think positively on your own problem, to set a definite and clearly defined goal for yourself, to let your marvelous mind think about your goal from all possible angles, to let your imagination speculate freely upon many different possible solutions, to refuse to believe that there are any circumstances sufficiently strong to defeat you in the accomplishment of your purpose, to act promptly and decisively when your course is clear, and to keep constantly aware of the fact that you are at this moment standing in the middle of your own acres of diamonds, as Russell Conwell used to point out. And fourth, save at least 10% of every dollar you earn. It's also remembering that no matter what your present job, it has enormous possibilities if you're willing to pay the price. Now let's just go over the important points in the price each of us must pay to achieve the wonderful life that can be ours. It is, of course, worth any price. 1, you will become what you think about. 2, remember the word imagination and let your mind begin to soar. 3, courage. Concentrate on your goal every day. 4, save 10% of what you earn. And 5, action. Ideas are worthless unless we act on them. Now, I'll try to outline the 30-day test I want you to make. Keep in mind that you have nothing to lose by making this test and everything you could possibly want to gain. There are 2 things that may be said of everyone. Each of us wants something, and each of us is afraid of something. I want you to write on a card what it is you want more than anything else. It may be more money. Perhaps you'd like to double your income or make a specific amount of money. It may be a beautiful home. It may be success at your job. It may be a particular position in life. It could be a more harmonious family. Each of us wants something. Now write down on your card specifically what it is you want. Make sure it's a single goal and clearly defined. You needn't show it to anyone, but carry it with you so that you can look at it several times a day. Think about it in a cheerful, relaxed, positive way each morning when you get up. And immediately you have something to work for, something to get out of bed for, something to live for. Look at it every chance you get during the day and just before going to bed at night. And as you look at it, remember that you must become what you think about. And since you're thinking about your goal, you realize that soon it will be yours. In fact, it's yours really the moment you write it down and begin to think about it. Look at the abundance all around you as you go about your daily business. You have as much right to this abundance as any other living creature. It's yours for the asking. Now we come to the difficult part. Difficult because it means the formation of what is probably a brand new habit, and new habits are not easily formed. Once formed, however, it will follow you for the rest of your life. Stop thinking about what it is you fear. Each time a fearful or negative thought comes into your consciousness, replace it with a mental picture of your positive and worthwhile goal. And there'll come times when you feel like giving up. It's easier for a human being to think negatively than positively. That's why only 5% are successful. You must begin now to place yourself in that group. For 30 days, you must take control of your mind. It will think about only what you permit it to think about. Each day for this 30-day test, do more than you have to do. In addition to maintaining a cheerful, positive outlook, give of yourself more than you've ever done before. Do this knowing that your returns in life must be in direct proportion to what you give. The moment you decide on a goal to work toward, you're immediately a successful person. You are then in that rare and successful category of people who know where they're going. Out of every 100 people, you belong to the top 5. Don't concern yourself too much with how you're going to achieve your goal. Leave that completely to a power greater than yourself. All you have to do is know where you're going. The answers will come to you of their own accord and at the right time. Remember these words from the Sermon on the Mount, and remember them well. Keep them constantly before you this month of your test. Ask, and it shall be given you. Seek, and ye shall find. Knock, and it shall be opened unto you. For every one that asketh receiveth, and he that seeketh findeth, and to him that knocketh it shall be opened. It's as marvelous and as simple as that. In fact, it's so simple that in our seemingly complicated world, it's difficult for an adult to understand that all he needs is a purpose and faith. For 30 days, do your very best. If you're a salesman, go at it as you've never done before, not in a hectic fashion, but with the calm, cheerful assurance that time well spent will give you the abundance in return you deserve and want. If you're a homemaker, devote your 30-day test to completely giving of yourself without thinking about receiving anything in return, and you'll be amazed at the difference it makes in your life. No matter what your job, do it as you've never done it before for 30 days. And if you've kept your goal before you every day, you'll wonder and marvel at this new life you've found. Dorothea Brand, the outstanding editor and writer, discovered it for herself and tells about it in her fine book, Wake Up and Live. Her entire philosophy is reduced to the words, act as though it were impossible to fail. She made her own test with sincerity and faith, and her entire life was changed to one of overwhelming success. Now, you make your test for 30 full days. Don't start your test until you've made up your mind to stick with it. You see, by being persistent, you're demonstrating faith. Persistence is simply another word for faith. If you didn't have faith, you'd never persist. If you should fail during your first 30 days, by that I mean suddenly find yourself overwhelmed by negative thoughts, you've got to start over again from that point and go 30 more days. Gradually, your new habit will form until you find yourself one of that wonderful minority to whom virtually nothing is impossible. And don't forget the card. It's vitally important as you begin this new way of living. On one side of the card, write your goal, whatever it may be. On the other side, write the words we've quoted from the Sermon on the Mount. Ask, and it shall be given you. Seek, and ye shall find. Knock, and it shall be opened unto you. Nothing great was ever accomplished without inspiration. See that during these crucial first 30 days, your own inspiration is kept at a peak. And above all, don't worry. Worry brings fear, and fear is crippling. The only thing that can cause you to worry during your test is trying to do it all yourself. Know that all you have to do is hold your goal before you. Everything else will take care of itself. Remember also to keep calm and cheerful. Don't let petty things annoy you and get you off course. Now, since making this test is difficult, some will say, why should I bother? Well, look at the alternative. No one wants to be a failure. No one really wants to be a mediocre individual. No one wants a life constantly filled with worry and fear and frustration. Therefore, remember that you must reap that which you sow. If you sow negative thoughts, your life will be filled with negative things. If you sow positive thoughts, your life will be cheerful, successful, and positive. Now, gradually, you will have a tendency to forget what you've heard on this recording. Play it often. Keep reminding yourself of what you must do to form this new habit. Gather your whole family around at regular intervals and listen to what's been said here. You know, most men will tell you that they want to make money without understanding the law. The only people who make money work in a mint. The rest of us must earn money. This is what causes those who keep looking for something for nothing or a free ride to fail in life. The only way to with services or products which are needed and useful. We exchange our time and our product or service for the other man's money. Therefore, the law is that our financial return will be in direct proportion to our service. Now, success is not the result of making money. Making money is the result of success, and success is in direct proportion to our service. Most people have this law backwards. They believe that you're successful if you earn a lot of money. The truth is that you can only earn money after you're successful. It's like the story of the man who sat in front of the stove and said to it, "Give me heat, and then I'll add the wood." How many men and women do you know, or do you suppose there are today, who take the same attitude toward life? There are millions. We've got to put the fuel in before we can expect heat. Likewise, we've got to be of service first before we can expect money. Don't concern yourself with the money. Be of service, build, work, dream, create. Do this, and you'll find there's no limit to the prosperity and abundance that will come to you. Prosperity, you know, is founded upon a law of mutual exchange. Any person who contributes to prosperity must prosper in turn himself. Sometimes the return will not come from those you serve, but it must come to you from someplace, because that's the law. For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. As you go daily through your 30-day test period, remember that your success will always be measured by the quality and quantity of service you render, and money is a yardstick for measuring this service. No man can get rich himself unless he enriches others. Now, there are no exceptions to a law. You can drive down any street in America and from your car estimate the service that's being rendered by the people living on that street. Had you ever thought of this yardstick before? It's interesting. Some, like ministers and priests and other devoted people, measure their returns in the realm of the spiritual, but again, their returns are equal to their service. Once this law is fully understood, any thinking person can tell his own fortune. If he wants more, He must be of more service to those from whom he receives his return. If he wants less, he has only to reduce his service. This is the price you must pay for what you want. If you believe you can enrich yourself by deluding others, you can end only by deluding yourself. It may take some time, but just as surely as you breathe, you'll get back what you put out. Don't ever make the mistake of thinking you can avert this. It's impossible. The prisons and the streets where the lonely walk are filled with people who tried to make new laws just for themselves. We may avoid the laws of man for a while, but there are greater laws that cannot be broken. An outstanding medical doctor recently pointed out 6 steps that will help you realize success. 1. Set yourself a definite goal. 2. Quit running yourself down. 3. Stop thinking of all the reasons why you cannot be successful and instead think of all the reasons why you can. 4. Trace your attitudes back through your childhood and try to discover where you first got the idea you couldn't be successful, if that's the way you've been thinking. 5. Change the image you have of yourself by writing out a description of the person you would like to be. And 6. Act the part of the successful person you have decided to become. The doctor who wrote those words is a noted West Coast psychiatrist, Dr. David Harold Fink. Do what the experts since the dawn of recorded history have told you you must do. Pay the price by becoming the person you want to become. It's not nearly as difficult as living unsuccessfully. Make your 30-day test, then repeat it again, and each time it will become more a part of you until you'll wonder how you could ever have lived any other way. Live this new way, and the floodgates of abundance will open and pour over you more riches than you may have dreamed existed. Money? Yes, lots of it. But what's more important, you'll have peace. You'll be in that wonderful minority who lead calm, cheerful, successful lives. Start today. You have nothing to lose, but you have a whole life to win. This is Earl Nightingale, and thank you.
100 days ago, I started a YouTube Shorts channel with the goal of reaching 100,000 subscribers by the end of this year. 100 days later, my channel has reached 230,000 subscribers and now earns more than $400 a week. This video is everything I've learned over the last 4 months, so you can apply these principles to your channel and start seeing similar results. Principle 1. Make sure you're interested in your channel topic, otherwise you'll lose motivation and give up. I am no exception to this principle because I've created 3 YouTube short channels and only continued to post on the Nutmeg channel. This is because I'm interested in the channel topic, which is football. One channel I gave up on was focused on basketball content, and I gained 300 subscribers and reached over 120,000 views after posting for just 19 days consistently. Despite this channel starting to gain traction, I just couldn't bear to create another short around a topic I just didn't care for. If I had spent this time on the Nutmeg channel, who knows how large it could be right now. So learn from my mistakes and pick a channel topic you're actually interested in. Principle 2. You are in control of how quickly success comes to your channel. If you take the time to publish 1 short per day and study the performance from every single short you upload, success will come to your channel much faster. I posted 39 shorts before I realized I needed to go back and study the performance of my only viral short at the time. The difference between my viral short and all the other shorts on my channel was that it had high retention, and retention is the most important YouTube metric behind any short going viral on YouTube. I identified 2 techniques that I accidentally applied to the short to make it have high retention. And ever since learning these techniques, they have been responsible for all of the viral shorts on my channel. Continue watching to watch me break down these retention techniques and future principles. Principle 3. If you want to make money from YouTube shorts and it's not your original content, you have to edit your shorts. For my channel, it's obvious I didn't create the original content because it's famous soccer players from games and interviews. And to prove you can make money from this, we can look at the YouTube monetization rules for reused content. If you edit your shorts, you will meet this approved criteria of creating a funny or thoughtful revision of content you didn't originally create. And if your content doesn't fall within any of these don'ts, you will be making money from YouTube shorts. My channel was once flagged for reused content and momentarily removed from the YouTube Partner Program. But since I knew I was following the rules, I appealed the claim by submitting a video where I showed my video editing files, and 1 day later I was added back to the YouTuber Partner Program. program. Principle 4, aim to achieve high retention in your shorts because, as I mentioned, retention is the key metric behind any short going viral. After studying my first viral short, I noticed within the first second, I already had one text edit, one highlighted circle, and 2 sounds. These types of edits appeared every 2 seconds throughout the entire short to keep the viewer engaged both visually and auditory. This constantly feeds the viewer with new content and gives them less reason to swipe away. To do this, you will need to know how to use video editing software. Starting out, it can be hard if you've never edited before, but don't let it scare you. You can learn everything you need to know to edit a viral short within a couple hours of practice. Principle 5, make your shorts appeal to the largest audience possible. The second difference I noticed within my first viral short was that it was dedicated to one of the most popular soccer players, and it was just his funniest moments. This topic appealed to a much wider audience compared to my traditional content, which was just focused on die-hard football fans. Another way to attract a wider audience is to create shorts with no words, so any language can understand your content. You can use emojis and different types of graphics to draw attention, but of course this may not apply to your content because you might be doing some type of talking content that relies on a voice. Principle 6, set realistic goals. Your main priority if you want to make money from YouTube Shorts is to reach the YouTuber Partner Program. This requires you to gain 1,000 subscribers and reach over 10 million short views in a 90-day period. This number of views didn't scare me at the start until I had posted my first short and got less than 5,000 views. I recommend you start by trying to achieve 100 subscribers within a 2-week period while posting 1 short per day. At the start, your channel growth will be slow and you can't give up. Because one thing about YouTube Shorts is that growth is exponential and happens all of a sudden. Now let's look at my analytics to see how my channel performed. We can see over the period my channel reached 140 million views, and we can see that I started posting in this initial stage here. In this grouping, I uploaded my first viral short and took around 13 days before it started to go viral. It reached a peak of 500,000 views per day, and this was followed to a drop to around 100,000 views, and then back to another peak to around 600,000 views. It was in this peak here where I went back and studied what worked within my first viral short, and I applied those 2 principles I explained earlier to
The smell of a storm. Willows. Rain.
Actually, there's incredible user growth. And that doesn't really correspond with some of the things that other people are saying. For example, here's Reuters saying that advertising revenue has declined over 78% since 2022 and 60% year over year. Here's a lot of really red numbers that are super scary. Elon thinks it's the ADL that is causing the decline in advertising. The ADL does have some power over advertising. I don't want to make it would be another 30 minutes to explain what the ADL is. It's basically a group of advertisers that kind of come together and they make advertising decisions together. The reality is the vast majority of ad budget is controlled by a few agencies in the world, and those agencies generally move in lockstep So it is true that a large amount of the advertising budget was pulled via the ADL and via those agencies, but those agencies are just making informed business decisions. They're not like after some kind of like conspiratorial thing. I mean, I talk to the top level of these agencies pretty regularly, and they are not doing anything untoward. It's not like an Illuminati conspiracy. Now here's another post where the Observer is saying that X is losing users. Okay. So like, what is the truth of it? Like, what's happening? Well, the first thing as to why there might be a increase in users on the platform is because Elon literally unbanned everybody. So Elon unbanned every account that had ever been banned on Twitter. Some of those people had been banned for pretty good reasons. And thus the increase, especially increases in these metrics in 2024 could be because of that. But also because there is an absolute insane amount of bots on the platform. It looks like I didn't put down did I not put down my data for this? It looks like I didn't. So I'll have to go off of memory. So suffice to say that the first part of it was that a huge amount of people have been unbanned, but the second amount of it is that there are an enormous amount of bots on the platform, which are counted as users, counted as logged in users. Elon has not been transparent whatsoever about the number of bots on the platform. We have just finished an audit with a security firm. I kind of have to be careful about what I say here. And that audit was trying to determine fraudulent clicks across multiple social media platforms, i.e. like how many of the actual clicks on ads are real and how many are not. We're doing this audit because we want to get better value for our brands and we don't want them to pay for fake stuff. So it was not us that collected this data, it was a third-party security firm. However, we saw that, and this is pretty reliable, that there was over 60% of Twitter having bot clicks, allegedly. So that to us basically guaranteed that, so that's to say that like if 6 out of 10 people that are posting or commenting or doing anything are at least in some way associated with, or they are a bot account. So that would easily explain this increase in users. And that alone is enough for me to basically never advertise on the platform until that's under control. Elon's done nothing to acknowledge bots. He's showed no data that I know of on the reduction of bots on the platform. So there you go. That's why that's the discrepancy that you're hearing as to like how some people are saying that like Twitter is growing, engagement is growing, versus other people. It is likely that X is losing real users and gaining bots, and likewise the amount of advertisers leaving the platform is absolutely true. Okay, just as recently, this is the most recent article. Elon is in deep trouble as even more advertisers are planning to leave Twitter's toxic cesspool. Not very, what's the word? Unbiased journalism, but we'll take it. Interviewing 1,000 senior marketers and 18,000 consumers across the globe, just 4% of marketers think Twitter ads provide brand safety. You can put me in that 96%. I also do not think they provide brand safety. 15% of marketers were favorable towards Twitter ads. You can also put me in that 85%. I'm not favorable towards Twitter ads. It has since gone in a complete reversal. Now 21% of marketers are unfavorable. Advertisers have moving their marketing spend away from X for several years. The stark acceleration of the trend in the past 12 months means a turnaround seems unlikely. That has been my experience as well. That has been the experience of every single person that I have worked with. This is due to the user base dwindling and the sheer number of bots due to the platform. Here you go. So bots on X are worse. This is the link I was looking for. Bots on X are worse than ever, according to analysts of 1 million tweets during the first Republican primary debates, according to The Guardian. Whoa, so there is a lot of bots. There is a lot of really fake stuff, and it's not great. Fake people don't buy things, and I love when you buy things. So I am very upset, and I won't run my ads there. Okay, so that basically explains that discrepancy. So it doesn't look good. So Devin, what do you think? What do you think, Devin, about what's going to happen to Twitter, what is true and what's not? In summary, the big summary here. Well, I think it's 4 things, okay? What I think, all right? I think the first thing is that it's probably true that advertisers are leaving the platform in record numbers. Again, our own data shows that 61% of clicks on Twitter, on average, are bot clicks. So not only do you have brand safety problems and high CPMs, meaning that the ads actually cost more than they did before. So one of the things I didn't mention in this video is that, like, Elon, over the course of time, by the way, like when Twitter ran under Jack Dorsey, I had a direct contact there. I had a person that I could call. That person would help me run ads. That person would talk to me 24/7 about anything I was doing, about my brands or whatever. We ran enough money with Twitter and these platforms that I still to this day have representatives at every one of the platforms, at least one. On Twitter, when Elon took over, that person disappeared, and I have never gotten a non-automated response from Twitter since. Okay, so I can't ask anybody there why the CPMs, meaning the cost per 1,000 impressions to run something, have gone up on Twitter, and Elon is telling me through his media and through the stuff that he talks about that Twitter ads should be higher priced because they're producing more results, but the ads aren't producing results. The ads that are running don't get us meaningful impressions. The impressions that they do get don't seem to be real, and they certainly don't translate into any kind of sales or conversions. There's a hilarious video that I want to show you. It's called "I Ran Twitter Ads to See Why Advertisers Left." This is such a good video. and it's like a 15-minute video where these kids just try to run ads. They're kind of ridiculous to see what happens, and the results they get are pretty impressive. Watch it if you have time. To see.
If there's anything that I hate, it's excessive advertisement. But first, a word from our sponsor. Thank you to the Sludge Warehouse for sponsoring today's video. Use code TACO for 15% more slime. Check out my merchandise over at TACO. Anyway, today I want to do a little bit of an experiment. I feel like the absolute worst of the worst when it comes to internet advertisement is Twitter. After a bunch of major advertisers boycotted the platform, Twitter ads started getting a little bit weirder. Big companies used to advertise here, but now we just get stuff like this. Just a guy in a contraption. Okay, here's an actual ad. Galaxy Gas. Anytime is party time. Now what this is nitrous oxide, which is a drug, but it's okay because it's not that bad for you. Oh. It's better than another Raid Shadow Legends ad, am I right? And then you just get these nonsensical ads like this. Trudy told me to have a nice day. Well, thank you, Trudy. I actually quite appreciate that. That's a nice... Oh my god! 460,000 views? Trudy? Go
most.
How much did you spend on this ad? I find all this to be really hilarious, so I'm gonna be running my own Twitter ads to see what it's really like. And who knows, maybe we'll even find out why so many advertisers left Twitter in the first place. Hey, look at that. Wonder what that could be. I wanted some kind of a variety in the ads that were made, so I invited my two friends Jack and Deemer to come help. We're each gonna make 2 ads, and I'll pay to run them, which shouldn't really be a problem for me. And then we're gonna see which ones do the best. So to start, I brought them into a call to show them some examples of Twitter ads so that we could all learn from the pros. Stop sending so many of what is this? What? This one, I actually brought out a presentation for this one. Oh. D1 Day 4K, he's advertising his Twitch. It sounds kind of like a toddler. Evidently he's upset he's shadow banned, apparently. I kind of want to see how good this was at advertising him. So maybe, let's take a gander.
What shadow banned him?
Why would he be shadow banned? Who would be watching?
He probably had one stream, had 0 viewers, and said, "What the f is this? What's going on here?" This is an actual product. You know, elevate your style with their winter knit fringe fur color shawl. But my favorite part about Twitter is the community notes, obviously, because there's one on here that's explains what's wrong with this ad. Oh, and this is, right now we're looking at actual advertising, because there's a lot of promoted tweets that aren't advertisements, so this is actual advertisements. And this is a small artist who's trying to get recognized using Twitter ads.
Okay. Okay.
Who got this ad?
Is it the art? It's the artist, I think.
No. It says
How
ad.
did you get this ad? Because they're marketed to a certain demographic. Okay.
What? It's an NFT. It's an NFT.
We got an NFT collection where every character symbolizes a role in the battle between 8 poos and Kongs.
There's an active war, and I haven't been hearing about this.
Well, yeah, with the 8 poo NFTs, that's a huge deal in the finance community.
And they're fighting against the
This one is kind of advertising something. It's advertising a fact more than anything. Cats and dogs like you food every day and night.
There's no Wikipedia.
Like, I was thinking about doing something like that, but I don't think they're doing a challenge. I think they just did that.
Joey over here wants to give his unpopular opinion.
Unpopular opinion. Today's humans are the softest, fattest, and most easily offended in history.
Wow. He paid to show this to people.
Really?
What is it? What
Soft fatness.
What is his Twitter? Joey Yo. What is his Twitter account? 502 men serviced. What?
Oh, for Sally. So this guy Rich is in a relationship with a Sally doll from Sonic.
I don't think that I can confidently answer any of your questions, Steve.
Okay, Mr. Bob.
This is fire.
Oh, that's
what is his profile picture?
Where is he?
What is that a baby? Or we then spent roughly 10 minutes debating what this picture was. I'm pretty sure that it's the back of a baby's head with the shadow of a foot on it in an electrical closet. But I digress. I think we've seen enough ads.
See what happens, and the results they get are pretty impressive. Watch it if you have time. Okay, so the point is that, like, I do think it's true that advertisers are leaving the platform in record numbers. That has coincided with all the data that I have seen. It's my own personal experience as well as the experience of all of the marketers and agencies that I talk to, which is a lot of people. Okay. Secondly, let's talk about some of the negativity, the racism and stuff like that. I think it's also probably true that racism and negative speech has increased. That has been my personal experience, but I don't like going off of personal experience. I like getting data, especially for YouTube videos and like kind of technical deep dive videos that we do on this channel. So, you know, we're gonna pull up the congressional hearing here, and there is, it's just a dumpster fire. Okay, so slurs against certain groups of people. I just want to be really careful with YouTube's like censorship system here. Showed up on social media services an average of 1,282 times a day. After the billionaire became Twitter's owner, they jumped to 3,876 times a day. The slurs against certain groups appeared on Twitter 2,500 times, and now they've risen to over 4,000 times, or 3,964. anti-Semitic posts raised more than 61% in 2 weeks. So you can just kind of go through this entire article and see that the increase in racist and anti-Semitic commentary has gone through the roof. I'll get to like how I feel about that on the fourth point, but suffice to say that I think that racism and negative speech has increased on Twitter as well. Thirdly, at the rate my notes say, at the rate that this platform is going, it's doomed. I guess I didn't choose to expand on this point anymore in my notes, but yeah, too many advertisers are believing there's not a path to profitability. Again, I don't think you can monetize this platform no matter how many people you fire via Twitter Blue, and I don't think that you can make any advertisers stay on the platform when, one, you can't produce results for them, and two, only 4% of those advertisers think that you are anywhere near acceptable to be on the platform. And that kind of gets into like my final point, which I think is my most important point. It's a hard one. It's a hard one to talk about, but it's a good one to end on. Oh boy, here we go. Free speech is really important.
Don't miss out. 50% off yearly plans with a money-back guarantee. We believe in our technology so much that if it...
Really, 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 really important. When Elon first announced his vision for Twitter, I was really positive on it. Because the way that he advertised Twitter was what he called an open town square, which was a place for people to discuss ideas and talk between each other, and hopefully come to conclusions or expand on those ideas. I live in America. One of the things that I'm really scared about in America right now is how polarized we've become. Not just in terms of media, but in terms of in and out groups. You are either on the left or you're on the right politically. And it seems like politics has now become everything. It's become every cultural issue. It's become every moral issue. Like, if you're on either of these sides, you adopt a certain moral compass, a certain brand of ethical considerations, and a certain level of acceptable speech and activity. And there is like almost no such thing as a moderate, meaning a person that sits in the middle and tries to take both ideas, good ideas from both directions, and try to form a cohesive world vision. There are a lot of people that would like to claim that they are moderates. They are in fact fighting for one of the other sides. And so this concerns me greatly. Like, sometimes I have anxiety, like staying up at night thinking about how messed up this is in this country. So Elon's original vision of this platform was, sorry, I'm like emotional about this. Like, Elon's original vision of this platform was this open town square where those people and those moderates could explore both sides of the equation and hopefully maybe come together with like a better cohesive vision of what we ought to do. But it didn't happen. Like, a bunch of people from both sides, like the most extreme left and the most extreme right, came in with the craziest takes ever, and they flooded the platform. And now there is no conversation. It's just a nightmare hellscape of misinformation, which carries with it its own problems. You can't tell what's real. Propaganda from either side, foreign state actors, like people that have their own agendas or are just trying to make money off of you. Like, one thing I didn't talk about in this video is that Twitter Blue monetized posts. So like a lot of posts that started coming up were just designed to be the most viral posts possible so that people could engage with them, so that those people can get paid. So for example, like, you'll see a lot of content that's like around fighting, or like really viral content that's just repeated over and over again in the replies, because you can also monetize replies, which I think was one of the worst decisions that Twitter made. Well, like, and again, like, when I'm hearing about this vision before seeing it executed, it sounds amazing, because like, content creators getting paid for posting content is the basis of which YouTube and Twitch and these other platforms are existing, and they're amazing. It's actually really, really cool that's possible. I personally got really excited when I heard that this was going to be a possibility with Twitter. But the problem is that, like, the way that it was implemented just incentivizes people to post the most viral, like BS, like kind of trash content possible. So there's never any meaningful discussion on threads. Like somebody could actually have a really good point on a thread, and then you just see 10 to 15 to 20 to 300 meme posts that have nothing to do with the original. They're OnlyFans creators. They're like viral fight videos from high schools and stuff. They have nothing to do with the original discourse because like they're just people trying to monetize their posts, so nobody cares. And so the result of it is that the entire thing is just a dumpster fire. So if you go back to my old videos and I'm like, wow, this Twitter thing looks really sweet, is because and then some people criticize me for it. They're like, oh, you got this prediction wrong. Like you thought that maybe Twitter could be a good thing. Yeah, this is one of my, like, I think I hit like 70%. This is one of the ones that I missed because I am a optimist. I want to see like the good in the world, and I want to see us like evolve and talk together and come together and grow. So I want to see the potential in a platform. I want to see the potential in the vision of somebody to create something cool. That's not happening here, and it makes me sad. And it makes me sad because I feel like Twitter actually, for a moment there, a blink in time, a wrinkle in time, had a real shot at becoming a platform where we could have had open discourse and we could have talked about things. And I do think that you see some of that on Twitter. Like, I do think that the previous version, the previous iteration of Twitter was a little bit too strict on certain viewpoints. And because of that, there was a sort of rhetoric that happened on that platform that favored certain sides. And I do think it's good that a more conservative viewpoint, a more balanced viewpoint, for example, like people that are more moderate or conservative can voice what they think as well on Twitter. However, the platform is so unregulated on both of the sides that it's just a nightmare to deal with, and nobody reasonable can go into it. I'll tell you this, because I do a lot of self-improvement stuff. I try not to put it on this channel as much as like the business marketing stuff, but I'll tell you this. Everything that you consume in this world, number one, there's an agenda to it, someone else's agenda, and number two, you're choosing to allow that into your mind. So you have to be really careful on what you allow into your mind and what people you listen to and what they say to you, okay? Everything on Twitter feels like a misinformation campaign to get you to believe something, that the establishment isn't real, that science isn't real, that everything isn't real. This is a super dangerous phenomenon. This is the literal definition of propaganda. Propaganda, people think, is like, oh, it's just like misinformation. No. Like, propaganda is a combination of real information and misinformation with the goal of getting you to not understand that anything is real. So you just don't have a center point for what reality is anymore, and you're like, okay, I'm so confused, I'm so overwhelmed, my world is falling down around me, I don't know what to do. That is when a dictator or powerful person extends their hand, a guru or a cult leader or someone like that extends their hand and says, I have the answer. You don't need to think. The world is very scary and very confusing. Come with me, and I will take you to the right path. And that's how we get North Korea. That's how that happens. That's how propaganda works. And that's what I'm seeing as a manufactured, whether intentionally or unintentionally, on Twitter. And that scares me a lot, is that if you consume that platform enough and you don't have enough of your own center to understand what is real, you will start questioning what is real. And so I caution people to be very careful with Twitter in its current iteration. And I am trying to disconnect myself from using it, because although I feel like I have a very firm center in reality, I am definitely feeling the negative mental effects of consuming the platform, even a little bit as I do, to the point where I need to like actually take action to ban it and to get it out of my life. And that's really sad, because I don't actually know what replaces that platform as a opportunity for free discourse. Like I don't know where we talk about things and we don't get judged for them anymore. I don't know where I can say a right-leaning opinion or a left-leaning opinion and not have the other side attack me. It doesn't seem like it's possible in America, and that's really sad. So like, I understand, like, there's a lot of people that are like, yeah, like the death of Twitter, like, let's go. I'm not excited about it. Because I think it's the loss of, we're seeing the loss in real time, not the loss of yet, but all signs point to the loss of a platform that had the real potential for us to have actually good, thought-provoking discussions. And I don't think there's a good replacement for that, or a good forum for that today in the first world, which is really scary. So you know, I'm still rooting for Twitter for that singular reason, where it's just like I just want I just want a place where I can get information that is normal, but it just seems to be a platform where Elon is tweeting at Taylor Swift and demons are entering through portals and science isn't real. It's really unfortunate. So I hope in this video that I've given you an entire breakdown of the situation with Twitter and where it's going. The answer is not good. And kind of the 4 main points that I think of, like, what are going to happen with the platform, right? Like, I think that advertisers leaving, they're going to continue to. I do think the negative stuff is continuing to go. I think the platform's doomed at this point. And by doomed, I mean, like, advertisers will kill the platform, and they're right to, right? I will be a part of that. And I also just don't have an answer on this. I'm really conflicted in my position. I want everybody's opinions, including the misinformation, to be out there, but I don't know how to balance that against, like, the real possibility of poisoning people's minds. And like, we assume that everybody can take care of themselves. This is also particularly an assumption of the rich, because the rich have a lot of agency, they have a lot of money to spend around places. They assume, oh, like, everybody can make their own informed decisions about things, but they don't understand that reality doesn't work that way. Like, first of all, a vast majority of people don't have time to do that. Like, they're too stressed, they're too overworked, they've got too much going on in the background, or they're a summary of mental trauma and things that have happened to them at no fault of their own, and their life is just too difficult to go figure out what is real and what isn't, and like what political side you should figure out, and what senator is not corrupt, and things like that. Like, it's perfectly reasonable for people to opt out of that system and just try to survive. Like, I think that's totally fine, and it's something that a lot of rich people and a lot of, like, really wealthy people just ignore. They don't understand that that is a reality for people. That, like, life is actually really hard. A lot of people are suffering and just trying to get by, or they just are trying to get away from this constant wheel and rhetoric. So I don't think it is fair that we put the entire responsibility on individuals to try to figure all this stuff out. And that's essentially what Twitter has done. It's like, okay, here's everything. Go, like, figure out, like, what is misinformation and what is not. And, like, even people that spend a lot of time being really informed just can't. It's CBA. But like, dude, like, Warhammer Space Marine 2 is a really good game. Can I play that a little bit instead of figuring out which senator, like, is voting for this bill or whatever? Like, no, you've got to figure it all out. Like, come on, right? I don't know. At the same time, so I think we need some kind of version of fact checking, and I think community notes is probably the last, like, really good thing left on Twitter that does fact check that. But it's too sparse. It just can't keep up the scale. All right, I have more to say, but I probably talked long enough about this, and you probably feel like you've listened long enough. So I would love to hear your thoughts. I'll read through the comments and just kind of figure out what you're thinking about, and maybe you have your thoughts on the open town square type of issue. But I hope I've kind of clarified more about, like, what's happening with Twitter, and at the very least that this was interesting to you. We'll see you again next time. Okay? Thanks everybody for watching. Bye bye.
Watch the video for my kids.
This video is brought to you by 80,000 Hours. Hi, welcome to another episode of Cold Fusion. Before I even utter a syllable, I think we should make something clear. When we say AI, our minds go straight to the often trashy, consumer generative AI that's been all over the news. But there's a distinction between that and regular neural networks that are quietly being used in novel ways in the background. I've called artificial intelligence a dichotomy multiple times for this reason. And just a last bit of housekeeping, we're not going to split hairs on semantics here, because basically, artificial intelligence in the modern zeitgeist is synonymous with neural nets, so the terms will be used interchangeably just for simplicity. Okay, so there's no question that AI certainly has split opinions among the public. We can take America as an example to quantify this. A 2024 YouGov poll breaks it down. The 4 most common emotions towards AI are caution, concern, skepticism, and curiosity. Interestingly, 14% think it's already more intelligent than people. And another note, the younger people are, the more positive they're likely to view AI. This includes views on AI's effects on society, their own life, or the economy. Whatever the figures are globally, one quick look online will show you a fact. A lot of people love to hate AI. Online, all you hear about is scummy companies that lie, that overpromise its capabilities and underdeliver. And then there's the other end. You also hear about sneaky companies replacing workers with AI. For example, this unfortunate guy.
I just lost my job, and I lost it to AI. I've been a graphic designer for the past 8 years of my life. On Monday this week, I got told that I'm being made redundant. It turns out basically all of the material that I've provided over the past 6 years is now being fed to AI and templated. A design that would take me 30 minutes now takes AI 30 seconds.
In fact, a little while back, I made an episode looking at the corporate deception when it comes to AI. But that's all the surface stuff that everyone keeps talking about. What about something new? What if we dug deeper and took a comprehensive look at the flip side? That is, how can AI be used for good? What I mean is this. Are there any world-benefiting, positive applications of AI that can't be achieved with any other technology? So in this episode, we'll explore how AI can and is making a difference in many fields like disability support, medicine, designing better chips, and other important sectors. Keep in mind that some of these projects featured are still in their early stages, so a lot could change in the future, but conceptually, I found these very interesting. We'll also feature a special segment from Tasmania, Australia. I travelled there to see how AI is being used to help replenish a species that has declined by 95%. So in this episode, let's dive into the real-world impacts of AI.
You are watching Cold Fusion TV.
It's no secret by now that AI is predominantly powered by NVIDIA GPUs, especially in the training process. So much so that it's seen NVIDIA's value as a company quite literally skyrocket along with the AI hype. These GPUs rely on powerful silicon to deliver their capabilities. But there's a twist. Now AI is improving the very same chips that they run on. It's an interesting closed-loop cycle. Let's see how it works. In chip manufacturing, there's a key step known as lithography. This is where detailed circuit designs are etched into semiconductor wafers. It's achieved with something called a photomask.
NVIDIA designed a new GPU-based algorithm along with a new library which accelerates computational lithography by 40 times. Basically, they've developed an algorithm which parallelizes the task among many GPUs. This reduces the amount of time needed for computing a photomask from several weeks to an overnight job.
The main problem was that creating photomasks used to be a slow, arduous task that could take weeks. But now, NVIDIA has a new platform that consists of generative AI algorithms that can speed up the process. What used to take weeks is now 40 times faster and can be done overnight.
There are 89 reticles for the NVIDIA H100. Running on CPUs, a single reticle currently takes 2 weeks to process. cuLitho, running on GPUs, can process a reticle in a single 8-hour shift.
NVIDIA's new platform is called cuLitho, and it chews through nanoscale computational lithography problems at incredible pace and at incredibly small scales. We're talking 2 nanometers in size. That's like comparing the width of a human hair to the size of a football field. This AI-driven approach isn't all just about speed. It's about making what seemed physically impossible, possible. TSMC, the world's largest independent semiconductor foundry, is already using this accelerated process. Other big names in the industry, like ASML, have joined the effort. Together, these companies are setting the foundation for the next generation of semiconductors, aiming for 2 nanometer technology and beyond. So then, if NVIDIA has been using AI to create their own chips, you'd expect to see a huge bump in performance, right? Well, where is it? We'll take a look at this chart comparing NVIDIA's GPU performance to Moore's Law. It's hard to know exactly how much their AI system is helping, but AI is making a difference here. So what's the takeaway? Well, what's fast today is about to get a whole lot faster. AI could take the computing power of tomorrow to levels we've only dreamed of. And as a side, I'm sure most of you know about DLSS. It's NVIDIA's AI upscaler that manages to provide higher quality visuals without demanding excessive computational power. Better chip design is something that one might probably expect in terms of contributions of AI. But using AI to help regenerate kelp plants in remote parts of Australia? Well, that's new even for me. I was invited to travel to Tasmania, Australia, to check out how AI was being used to help restore Australia's giant kelp population, thanks to a project by Google. the Commonwealth Scientific and Industrial Research Organization, or CSIRO, the Institute for Marine and Antarctic Studies, or IMAS, the Nature Conservancy, or TNC, the Great Southern Reef Foundation, and the Kelp Alliance. That's a lot of collaboration, so something must be going on here. And before we dive into it, we've got to understand what's at stake here. So Australia has a massive kelp forest stretching from midway down the west coast all the way to the island nation's east coast. In fact, 70% of Australians live within 50 kilometres or 31 miles of a kelp forest. Due to rising water temperatures, a large population of kelp has died off over time. In Tasmania, this number is at a staggering 95%. That's right, only 5% of the original population remains. So who cares about some undersea plants? Well, kelp is actually important in sustaining thousands of types of sea life. For example, some animals feed off kelp, others make kelp their homes, and other animals feed off those animals, and so on. It's a massive community and ecosystem, with thousands of types of sea life depending on kelp. It's not hard to imagine the runaway domino effect if the kelp forest goes permanently extinct. To get started on fixing a disaster in the making, mapping out the scale of the problem was essential. Now, doing this by hand is virtually impossible. So how does Google's AI help? Well, Google is using their own engine from Google Earth and a cloud platform called Vertex AI to accelerate the discovery of the remaining kelp forest at superhuman speeds. Google is partnering with the NGIS to, quote, locate and analyze kelp forests in more than 7,000 square kilometers of satellite imagery for the first time. This helps researchers paint a more complete picture of these ecosystems. We sat down in person with Leah Kaplan, Sustainability Business Lead at Google, in Tasmania to share more.
The giant kelp is interesting because the canopy floats on the surface, which means that we can actually detect it with satellite imagery. The reason that is important is because understanding the entire geographical span of the giant kelp in Australia actually hasn't been done before. And so to generate a map of where the kelp is remaining so that we can understand how restoration efforts are progressing, that's really, really important. And it's something we can do at scale with satellite imagery, which is just way more affordable than the old way of doing it, which was basically to fly a plane and take photographs. So satellite imagery can be automated, the processing and the AI detection of kelp can be automated. And so we can actually have ongoing remnant maps.
Once the mapping is carried out, Google, the CSIRO, and IMAS can use AI to do what it does best: pattern recognition and prediction. Using the 5% kelp that has survived the higher temperature range, AI analysis can uncover the genetic patterns that enable this kind of kelp to survive. Once that's figured out, this special kind of kelp can be bred and then used to replenish the dying population with a new breed of heat-resistant kelp. We had a tour of the CSIRO and IMAS labs to see parts of this in action. To get more insight into the genetic profiling, I had a chat to Andrew Carroll, product manager at Google Research, to give some further details.
So one component of any sort of study is to understand what amount of genetic diversity is present in the species, just to understand where the starting point is. The second set is to understand what are the traits that give resilience to various challenges. And the key challenge here is thermal tolerance, is the ability for kelp to withstand an increase in ocean temperatures.
This research project wouldn't just make a difference in Australia, but could have a positive impact globally. Google states that they're making the geospatial map accessible to all scientists, and the AI tools used are open source. Perhaps one of the most incredible ways that AI could make a difference is potentially giving mobility back to those who have lost it. Introducing AI-powered prosthetics.
Yeah, so it's a full robotic arm. Like there's an AI chip in here, and then this like attaches to like the remainder of my arm. There's sensors and stuff in here that reads the signals and nerves in my arm that the surgeons remap. So like me thinking about opening and closing, like I'm using the same nerves and stuff.
He evidently looks quite happy, and you can feel his joy. Let me tell you another story. This is Sarah De Lagarde. 2 years ago, she lost her arm in a subway accident. At age 45, she's gotten a new AI-assisted bionic arm. It trains itself and gets better the more she uses it. But the thing is, it's heavy and has to be charged every day. But still, the important thing is that it's given her the ability to do everyday tasks that were once impossible. Simple things like making a coffee, straightening her hair, and hugging her daughter. The New York Times did a piece on her earlier this year, and they put it all perfectly. Quote, AI is seeping into further fields like healthcare. While many researchers have raised alarms about AI's risks, other experts said that those concerns must be weighed against the technology's potential to improve lives. End quote. And that is the central theme of this episode. AI can do good. So we've all seen prosthetics before, but how do these AI-powered ones work? Neural nets and machine learning are used in these prosthetics to interpret electric nerve signals from the patient's muscles. It allows for more precise and intuitive control. AI basically gives the prosthetic a brain. Imagine a prosthetic leg that knows that you're climbing a stair, or a hand that can grab a cup smoothly without spilling. That's neural networks in action. It can use sensors within the limb to gather information from the external environment. Sensors can read the muscle signals, then move the limb, and it can be smart and adapt. Several companies are using AI to create smarter prosthetic limbs. Ottobock offers a bionic hand, which uses AI for improved functionality and control. Rewalk is known for their powered walking assistant system. Last year, they revealed their plan to use AI for autonomous decision-making in the new exoskeleton prototype.
How long had it been since you took a step?
Almost 20 years.
20 years.
When you stand up and you hadn't stood up in years, that was something that was the best part of it.
Other examples include Oso, an Icelandic firm that makes bionic prosthetics for lower limb amputees.
Actively powered technology allows Power Knee users to expand their activities, including those that are still challenging for users of passive knees.
And Atom Limbs, which combines advanced sensors and machine learning for more accurate and realistic movement in prosthetic arms.
We basically cover your stump in electrodes and you train it up with your phantom limb that we can't see but that you can. Flex your finger, extend your finger, rotate your wrist, rotate it the other way. And our machine learning and AI system takes a huge amount of training and spits out a result so that now you, whenever you think, can just move. So there's nothing in your head, nothing on your head, nothing in your arm. It's all this surface electrode and AI that basically powers it.
According to an estimate, there's over 550 million amputees worldwide. There's 2 million in the US alone, and that number is expected to double by 2050. So just take a second to think about how many people's lives could be changed by AI and advanced prosthetics. But there's a catch. Even though there's huge potential, this technology is not quite ready for the prime time for people who need it most. One big reason is, as you've probably already guessed, the cost. Building a robotic system that can mimic all the movement is quite challenging. To add to this, recreating sensation is probably still decades away at this point, if it's even possible at all. But even with what's available right now, it's no doubt changing lives for those who have access to it. Over time, as the technology improves and manufacturing becomes cheaper, access will increase, and that is a great thing. Prosthetics are just the start, but in the field of healthcare, neural networks are showing potential. It's augmenting the way we diagnose, treat, and manage health on a global scale. This graph extensively lists the areas in which healthcare is already having an impact. Sectors such as medical equipment prep, medical assistants, and a variety of technicians are the ones being most affected.
The implications for healthcare are enormous, and most doctors right now are sleepwalking. They do not understand how artificial intelligence is going to completely change the practice of medicine. I'm a doctor myself. Once more, this is not an attack against any one doctor, but I believe the medical profession has completely sold out, and they totally deserve what is about to come to them over the next few years. And if any doctor out there thinks they can shield themselves from these changes, well, good luck to you, because you are absolutely not going to be able to do that. Big change ahead. Better brace yourself for that.
This next section is bypassing that tired conversation of AI replacing doctors and other healthcare workers. That's not what I'm going to be talking about. This is more about AI helping with the heavy lifting in many ways. Google's MedLM aims to do just that. MedLM is a set of AI tools created to do things like quickly write up patient notes and help find important markers and diseases. The idea is to make healthcare tasks easier and more efficient. It's not just Google though. NVIDIA has rolled out some AI tools to make surgeries and medical imaging smarter and faster. Titans like Johnson & Johnson and GE Healthcare are on board with NVIDIA's AI tools. Looking to the field of medicines, Arda Ural from EY Americas has seen a positive shift in the biopharma industry. They note that AI has gone from a meaningless buzzword to a real game changer in just a year and a half. What do they mean by this? Typically, finding new drugs is a lengthy journey filled with research, clinical trials, and testing. This process can cost pharmaceutical companies billions of dollars, and all with a high risk of failure. Now, with the help of AI, they can cut down on time and cost, and that's a big deal. We can point to a few biotech companies that are already using AI and deep learning to boost their research. For example, Recursion Pharmaceuticals is using NVIDIA's AI supercomputer, BioHive 2, to find new medicines faster. Benevolent AI checks drugs that are almost ready for testing. They want to treat diseases that don't have good treatments yet. Atomwise, on the other hand, utilizes its AtomNet deep learning neural network for binding affinity prediction. This is a crucial step in the drug discovery process. This helps them find effective drugs quickly and more often. Neural networks are speeding things up and making the whole operation more efficient and smarter. Mr. Armchair Skeptic out there might shout, "I call BS." But this is not just theoretical. McKinsey published a research study where they found that AI does indeed positively impact productivity and boost success rates in biopharma research. This is a hidden movement going on under the noses and away from all the general AI hype. Already, 270 AI-driven drug discovery companies have been founded. Combined with rapid advancements, if corporate greed stays out of it, we could see new medicines with less side effects for a cheaper price. It's a tall ask, but a man can dream. Others in the space, like Delphi Diagnostics, have developed a test that uses AI to identify indicators of lung cancer. Similarly, researchers at the Children's National Hospital in Washington have created an AI tool designed to diagnose rheumatic heart disease in children. And in the past year, there's been plenty of these medical solutions coming online. In a previous episode not long ago, we already saw how cancer detection is being made easier through the use of AI. All you need is a simple sample of dried blood. Detection rates can reach up to 85%, and best of all, it's quick and cheap. And it's not just one research paper or one hospital that's used this solution. It's almost prolific, so in science, independent verification is always great, so this is really exciting. In robotic surgery, AI is helping doctors and surgeons with precision. We've covered the robot surgeon Da Vinci all the way back in 2018, but now it can utilize machine learning, image recognition, and more for advanced image analysis, surgical planning, and real-time adjustments tailored to the patient's unique anatomy. So in all of this, it's important to note that the training data is critical for healthcare-related solutions. The effectiveness of the data can be cut down due to variables like demographics, age, gender, and environmental factors. So even though I think these early signs are very promising, we have to be realistic. It will probably take some time before we see a robust, meaningful impact for the average person. But this is still a great start. What if artificial intelligence could help create better batteries? Lithium-ion types of batteries are crucial for everything from mobile devices to electric vehicles, but lithium is very expensive and wreaks havoc on its immediate environment. Replacing lithium is a major challenge that could take years, and it could involve testing millions of alternative materials. AI can be extremely useful in this context, and it's already being used to great effect. In a notable study, AI was instrumental in sifting through millions of possibilities to pinpoint 23 materials that hold promise for next-generation batteries. This collaborative effort between Microsoft and the Pacific Northwest National Laboratory has been documented in a recent publication. In related research in early 2024, Microsoft's Nathan Baker and his colleagues used AI to sift through 23.6 million candidate materials. It tweaked existing electrolyte designs by replacing some lithium atoms with other elements. The result was a battery that required 70% less lithium than other current designs. The breakthrough material that the AI found was named N2116. Experts from the Department of Energy later ensured the practical viability of the material. N2116 is essentially a novel electrolyte where half of the lithium atoms were replaced with sodium. This unconventional recipe opens up exciting possibilities for battery physics. Using this material, they were able to whip up a rough, low-conducting prototype that could turn a light bulb on. But the thing is, from the idea to a working prototype only took 9 months, a massively accelerated timescale, especially for a brand new chemical in battery research. But of course, there's some catches, so not so fast. there are still some questions over the training data, as the available data in battery engineering is limited, and there could be some unforeseen complications in bringing future AI designs to life in these batteries. But this is no doubt some cool progress. I think it's safe to say that by now, we've been inundated with consumer-facing AI applications, with every single company adding AI as some, quote, novel perk. Honestly, it's been overdone, and frankly, it's annoying at this point. But as a person who's been covering neural networks on this channel since 2015, before all of this hype, it's good to get the full picture. The stories I just covered are ones that I personally found fascinating. It helps to see where we stand in the grand scheme of things, and not to get too tied up in the noise. Sure, I guess some people might find it interesting to generate AI stickers in their messaging app for whatever reason. But to have AI potentially solve some of the broader problems of humanity and to ultimately help us dream of a better world, as cliched as it sounds, that's what most of us have always imagined AI to be. And now that it's showing some promise in some of these areas, it's good to see that there's some positive movement in that direction. And that's despite the complete mess on the other side of the coin. So what do you guys think? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comment section below. Today, we've seen AI helping humanity, but what if you wanted a career to do the same? Actually, have you ever thought about how long a career is? On average, it's about 80,000 hours of your life, so it's worth spending some time to plan it. And this is where the non-profit 80,000 Hours can help. After 10 years of conducting research with academics at Oxford University, they've come up with some of the most fulfilling career paths. Careers to help solve some of the world's most pressing problems.
Lineage 2 is hard to level up in? Nonsense.
Doomsday prepping has been around since prehistoric mammalian creatures stuffed some extra nuts into a tree to survive the winter. Humans, and especially American humans, became particularly fond of planning for the end of the world during the Cold War when nuclear Armageddon was a very real possibility. Ever since, it has become something of a utilitarian hobby for millions of people, spawning a multi-billion-dollar industry selling bunkers, ration kits, bug-out bags, and hunting supplies. The demand has grown so quickly that top-of-the-line air filtration systems have become collector's items because there simply aren't enough for everybody who wants them. What is interesting, or maybe a little bit concerning, is the particular group that is planning for the end of the world in higher numbers than basically anybody else. Billionaires. In a game of survival of the richest, people like Zuckerberg, Peter Thiel, Sam Altman, and the former CEO of Reddit have all reportedly invested tens of millions of dollars in lavish accommodations to wait out the end times. These are just the ones we know about in a game where discretion is obviously a big advantage. So why the fuck has there been such a boom in doomsday bunkers for billionaires? And is this all just really stupid?
Inside, this 54,000 square foot complex boasts everything you could need to live through the end of the
doomsday sort of a place where you can in fact go mining in case there is doomsday that happens.
According to Forbes, there are 2,781 billionaires alive as of March of 2024. There are likely many more that the journalists at Forbes don't know about. But even from the recorded list, that is a lot of individuals from a lot of different countries and backgrounds. Counting all of these people together as a single consumer group shopping for the end of the world is a bit unfair. But they do all have three things in common that make them particularly willing to make big investments into big holes in the ground. The first is that to get to where they are, they would have learned about the value of preparing for adverse outcomes. Whether that's making sure that their business had contingencies in place to get them through a bad quarter, or adjusting the allocation of their trust fund to ride out down markets, ultra-high net worth individuals inevitably learn to preserve what they have. A multi-million-dollar bunker with indoor swimming pools, golf simulators, and enough utilities to stay off the grid for decades is just another way that they can hedge their comfortable lifestyle against unforeseen downturns. Details are obviously scarce because these individuals want to keep their plan secret, but reporting by credible insiders have revealed that some of these individuals have multiple bunkers set up in places like Alaska, New Zealand, as well as their home cities so that they have contingencies for their contingencies. The second similarity that makes doomsday prepping particularly appealing to ultra-high net worth individuals is that they are already used to insulating themselves from the everyday world. Through choice or necessity, high-profile billionaires don't live normal lives. For their own convenience and protection, they fly private, have security personnel, and staff on call to do mundane tasks like get groceries for them. According to the industry research firm Technavio, global spending on private security has boomed to $330 billion and is projected to reach almost $500 billion by 2028. Certain companies are now including security allowances in the salary packages of their top executives. Before he retired as the company CEO, Jeff Bezos was given $1.6 million a year to cover his security costs by Amazon, according to company filings. Now, to play devil's advocate on behalf of the billionaires, their public notoriety does make them targets for kidnapping, blackmail, or just revenge by disgruntled former employees who filled up one too many piss bottles. The point is that the idea of living